was happening with Joe Biden. And I'm just going to make sure I get this out right now. I've never claimed to be a physician. I've never claimed to be a psychologist. I've never claimed to be a doctor. None of that. Okay. I'm putting this out there. With that said, we can't ignore what we see with our own very eyes. I knew something was wrong with Joe Biden back in 2019. I said, something's not right with this dude. And I said, something's not right. I mean, I don't know what it was, but I said, something's not right with Joe. And a lot of the left, they refused to acknowledge that something was wrong with Joe. We all saw something was wrong with him. We all kept talking about it. That something was wrong with Joe. So if you're just tuning in, could you please bless me by hitting that thumbs up? Please hit the thumbs up. I'm also going to have the phone line open so you can give me a call. You can talk to me about, UFOs even, but because it's your day. But the main thing I want to talk about is Jake the Snake coming out with a book. And basically, from what I've seen so far, it looks like Jake the Snake is throwing Joe Biden under the bus. I mean, he's straight up throwing him under the bus. And it looks like Jake the Snake is throwing other liberals under the bus. But what's really interesting is Jake Tapper, who's I'm talking about, he was complicit with hiding or trying to hide what we were all looking at. Jake Tapper was one of the main ones that was out there trying to make everyone believe that nothing was wrong with Joe Biden. And let me make something clear. I've never known for Joe Biden to have a stuttering issue. Does Joe Biden even stutter? I mean, he may stutter, but I don't ever recall Joe Biden stuttering. And, there's a difference in someone stuttering, like, there's a difference in that than versus someone walking on stage and shaking an invisible hand or getting up on stage and not knowing which way to go. There's a difference. So if he did stutter, I haven't seen it. I'm not saying that he didn't, but I haven't seen Joe Biden get up on stage and stutter. Maybe he has a couple times, but no one's talking about Joe Biden stuttering except for the left. And the only reason why they bring that up is because they want to deflect from what we actually are seeing. And Joe Biden walking off stage going the wrong way, shaking invisible hands. That's not a stutter. He's not even running his mouth. And Joe Biden reading the card, talking about who's he going to call on. That's not stuttering. Joe Biden can't take any answers unless it's on the card. That's not stuttering. Joe Biden not knowing where he is half the time. That's not stuttering. And again, I'm not a doctor. Don't claim to be one. Never claim to be one. But if that's not a stutter, then someone need to let me know. Y'all let me know. And please hit that thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. No matter how you're watching this, please hit the thumbs up or that red pill. Please hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. Okay. Now you have the media talking about Jake the Snake getting ready to come out with this book. And apparently in this book, he's throwing Joe Biden under the bus. And as I just mentioned a second ago, he was completely ignoring all of the issues with Joe Biden. Something was wrong with Joe. Well, I want y'all to listen to this. This was on Fox News where they're talking about this.
Well, the Fox News at 9 Common Sense Department can't wait to visit a Barnes & Noble in May when Jake Tapper's new book comes out. Although it might be hard to find considering we don't yet know if it'll be listed under true crime or hypocritical fiction. The book, co-written by the CNN anchor, is about the media cover-up of Joe Biden's cognitive decline. In other words, it's an autobiography where Tapper documents a historic political mistake, but fails to mention he was complicit in that mistake. But instead of accepting blame, it appears the plan is to roll his liberal media colleagues under the literary bus. Common Sense wonders if Tapper realizes that the media has this thing called videotape, and that he was videotaped on many occasions criticizing those who suggested that Joe Biden was in decline. Tapper even mocked Laura Trump for saying Biden was having cognitive issues. And in late 2023, Jake Tapper said Joe Biden was mentally sharp. In the book, Tapper says it was, quote, shockingly narcissistic, self-delusional, and reckless. He's talking about Biden's decision to run in 2024, but it could easily describe Tapper's decision to write in 2025. Common Sense is hearing that critics are saying by the end of the book, it'll be very apparent that his mind was not right.
That his mind was not right. Look, we're going to put the phone number here up on the screen. We're going to put the phone number up there. So I'm just kind of curious. For all of you, did you think that Joe Biden was peachy? Do you think that Joe Biden was sharp? And, you know, they all lied. Remember, Karine Jean-Pierre said, yeah, I've sat down and had meetings with Joe Biden. I should have got some of those videos for like a flashback. You know, I got them somewhere. I got them stored somewhere where Karine Jean-Pierre was saying, Joe Biden is smart. Smart as, you know, just he's really sharp. I don't see any decline in anything. He's completely there. She lied. And the thing is, she's lying as if we don't see something's wrong with Joe. What does that tell you? What does that tell you when they blatantly lie to us as if we're not even seeing it? Like, you know, for example, right now, you see Will Johnson on the screen. But then someone can say, nope, you're not seeing Will Johnson on the screen. Blatantly lying. Blatantly lying. Now, listen to Lord Trump here. This is where he was just talking about Jake the Snake, talking about Lord Trump, where he is trying to get on her, saying that she was criticizing his stutter. And she never says anything about the stutter. Again, only the left brings up stuttering by Joe Biden. I don't recall Joe Biden stuttering, maybe every now and then, but that's not, I mean, everyone kind of says that. Everyone talks about it a little bit. And Joe Biden, they said, you know, Joe Biden stuttered when he was growing up. But look, if no one ever told us that, do you think we would know? Do we even care? It's not even about a stutter.
Every time he comes on stage or they turn to him, I'm like, Joe, can you get it out? Let's get the words out, Joe. You kind of feel bad for him.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
What do you mean, Jake the Snake? Uh-oh, where we go? What do you mean, Jake the Snake? How does that make you feel? How do you think that make little kids feel when you talk about Joe Biden stuttering? She didn't even mention Joe Biden stuttering. She said something is wrong with Joe. She didn't say anything about his stuttering. Listen to her.
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You are
to
no.
watch somebody on stage
That's so amazing. It's so amazing to me
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline.
Hold on. Wait a minute. She's saying that, Jake the Snake is saying that Lord Trump was diagnosing Joe Biden's cognitive ability or his stuttering, like she was diagnosing him. She never said anything about his stuttering. And again, had my producer and other people didn't talk about Joe Biden stuttering as a kid, I would have never known. I mean, that's not even the question here about stuttering, but he's trying to make it part of that and has nothing to do with it.
I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive.
And then, okay, let me stop. And also, is it not that Jake the Snake, is he not the one doing that very thing with Joe Biden? Trying to diagnose a problem that he has? She's saying, look, I don't know what's going on. Something's going on. It kind of looks like his cognitive ability. But Jake the Snake is saying it's a stutter. Who's diagnosing who here? Are y'all picking up on that, or is it just me?
To people who do not have medical licenses, diagnosing politicians from afar. Plenty of people have diagnosed your father from afar. And I'm sure it offends you, your father-in-law from afar. I'm sure it offends you. You don't have any standing to say.
I'm not diagnosing him. What I'm saying,
You
Jake,
just talked
is that
about a
we
cognitive
can clearly
decline.
see that Joe Biden
I
is
have one last
struggling
question for you, Laura. You can't
times on stage, and it's very concerning to a lot of people that this could be the leader of the free world.
Okay. Yeah.
That is all I'm saying. I genuinely feel
Laura
sorry
Trump.
for Joe Biden.
So you hear this? You hear this? Jake the Snake defending Joe Biden. And now all of a sudden, Jake the Snake is getting ready to come out with a book. Look like he's getting ready to talk about Joe Biden, to get ready to throw Joe Biden under the bus. Who trusts anything that comes out of Jake the Snake's mouth? And look, just to be clear, I didn't give Jake Tapper the nickname Jake the Snake. I can't take any credit for that. I'm just repeating something that I heard from Mark Dice. The first time I ever heard of him, I mean, I've heard of Jake the Snake when I was a kid, but Jake Tapper get Jake the Snake because of Mark Dice. Thank you, Mark Dice, for that. Now, here is Jake the Snake talking about the book that he's getting ready to release. Now, of course, and I put a question mark on here, is Jake the Snake turning on Joe Biden? But he's not only turning on Joe Biden, apparently, he's turning on a lot of the other Democrats. And I think the reason why he's doing this is because they're mad. They're mad because President Trump is back in the White House and they need somebody to blame. They don't want to blame themselves, of course, for them ignoring what was going on with Joe Biden many years ago, 2018, 2017. Something was wrong with Joe. We all saw it then. I was saying that what they were doing to Joe Biden back in 2018, it was, because I considered it elderly abuse. I mean, because something was wrong with this dude. I'm like, something's wrong with Joe. Look what y'all doing to this man. They was like they were forcing Joe to go out there. And of course, Joe just being out there, he's just a puppet. They had an auto pen to sign everything that he did, apparently. It looks that way, allegedly. So what was Joe Biden? Joe Biden was just there, and Jake the Snake and other Democrats right now, they're all upset that Joe Biden failed them. And this is the way they're looking at it, but they failed themselves. They did this to themselves. But now, like I said, they're looking to blame somebody.
In 1 week and 6 days, May 20th, Original Sin. It's about President Biden's disastrous decision to run for re-election and the cover-up of his decline. Then in...
Did y'all hear? Did you catch that? Did you catch that? I got to take it back one more time, just in case you missed it. This is, Shannon, this is Jake the Snake's book that's coming out, right?
Yes. Well, he's a co-author.
He's a co-author. And
Yeah.
and this is the title of the book? Is this not throwing Joe Biden under the bus? Is this not throwing Joe Biden under the bus? Listen.
In 1 week and 6 days, May 20th, Original Sin. It's about President Biden's disastrous decision to run for re-election and the cover-up of his decline. Then in October, I have a book called Race Against Terror about the hunt to prosecute an al-Qaeda terrorist who killed Americans.
Okay, that one we don't really care about. I really don't care about that one. But the fact that he's holding up this other book, Original Sin, is this a Catholic thing? Right? Don't they talk about original sin in the Catholic Church? That's the only place I've ever heard of original sin. I never heard of it until the Catholic Church. Hey, look, we're live. I keep forgetting. We're live. I keep forgetting to let you know. The number's right here, 319-527-3453. 319-527-3453. Call me. What do you think about all of this? Do you think that the Democrats are turning on themselves? I think there's a civil war going on inside of the Democrat Party right now. I really do. I think there's a civil war going on. And of course, that they're blaming everybody but taking responsibility for themselves. So I'm just kind of curious. Give me a call. Tell me what you think. 319-527-3453. Has Joe Biden, did they just realize that something was wrong with Joe? Here you got Jake the Snake now coming out talking about the original sin. Joe Biden, he should have dropped out because Trump is in the White House. Now, if Trump was not in the White House and they had the Wicked Witch from the West in the White House, do you think Jake the Snake would have wrote this book? I don't think they would have said, if he would have wrote the book, it would have waited until after Camela Harris was gone. But she's not there. They lost. And they lost big time. Big time. I think this last election was such a devastating blow to the Democrat Party. I mean, a huge devastating blow. And like I said, they're blaming everybody but themselves. And now they don't know how to recover. They're trying to figure it out. And I think that I like the fact that this is happening to the Democrat Party. I really do. I really do, because I want the Democrat Party to crumble. You know, this is the same Democrat Party that created the racism we have in this country. It's the same Democrat Party that was Jim Crow, right? It's the same Democrat Party that didn't want black people voting, didn't want women voting. It's the same Democrat Party that's against women's rights right now. When it comes to the whole movement of, you know, men going into the locker room with girls and competing in sports, they're against women's rights. What about women winning scholarships? What about them competing in different things and not having to get beat out by a man? What about that? I saw a video really quick with Charles Barkley, and Charles Barkley was talking about how men should not be competing against women. Charles Barkley, and he says he's all for the people living the alternate lifestyle. He straight up said it. He's all for it. But these men should not be competing against women. Okay, we got a phone call, Shannon?
Yes.
Okay. You want to bring it on?
Yeah, we have Bill from Ohio.
Who do we have?
Hey,
Bill
I
from
was just gonna
Ohio.
ask you, Yes. Yeah, this is Bill from Ohio.
Bill. Hey, Bill, thank you so much for the call.
Hey, I was just going to ask you, what do you think about Judge Deneen being the U.S. Attorney General?
I have not heard that. Really?
Oh my goodness, you're missing that.
I
Yes,
am.
see,
Well,
what
thank
was
you for
happening-
letting me know. That is huge. I like that idea.
Well, see, Ed Martin just couldn't seem to get past because of that Tillis that are in North Carolina. So they just announced that yesterday about Judge Deneen. So they get another 120 days. Other than that, Joe Biden's Attorney General would have been able to select who he wanted, and we definitely don't want
Oh
no
my
liberals.
goodness. Yeah, we most definitely don't want that. No, this is news to me.
Yeah, actually, Jeremy Harrell on LFA just was reporting on that this morning.
Wow.
I did see that. I thought it was a joke, though.
You know what the left is going to say? That President
They're
Trump
not-
is getting everybody from Fox News in his cabinet. You know they're going to say that, right?
Well, yeah, but I don't think they're going to like Judge Deneen any more than they did Ed. The reason they didn't get Ed was Martin there was because he had defended some J6 people. That was the reason Tillis was so much against it.
Interesting.
Yes, it is very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we definitely got to have somebody in there that's going to be for us.
I like Judge Jeanine. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh man, she's a firecracker. She's
Yeah,
no
she
nonsense.
is.
She's no nonsense. She's common sense. My goodness. You know what? I'm telling you right now, the radical left, they're going to go bonkers over her. Oh my goodness.
Yes, they will.
They're going to go bonkers. Oh my goodness. I love that idea. Bill, thank you so much. That brightened up my day. I like that.
Hey, thanks, guys. You just take care, man.
You too. Take care.
Thanks,
Take care.
Bill.
All right. We got Dan from Michigan.
Yep, Dan from Michigan.
Hey, Dan. Thank you so much for the call.
Hey, Will, how you doing?
Man, it's Friday, and I'm blessed because you and Bill just gave me a call.
Cool. I'm going to change the subject up a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to go to immigration.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know. I want to ask you and your listeners. I've been seeing a lot that supposedly in the 90s, Bill Clinton signed a law into law that illegal immigrants don't need due process.
Really? I haven't heard that.
I've seen that quite a bit. And supposedly, Bush and Obama added to it to make it easier to deport illegals. And I'm just wondering, how come, for them, they could do that and not get no trouble.
Well,
but Trump is trying to do it, and he's
well, one thing I found out, Dan, is that when these people that come into the country illegally, the judges that they're supposed to stand before to receive their due process from, that comes those judges report to the executive branch. They don't,
right.
yeah, they report to the executive branch. So President Trump, he can say and he can determine how the due process works. So all they have to do is just have someone there saying, nope, you're illegal. You're not an American citizen. You got to go back home.
Right. Okay, I understand that. But what I don't understand is how come, like 3 other presidents used what, Clinton, Bush, and Obama used what Clinton put in, where you don't need no deep process.
Yeah, I think the reason why that happened during that time is because they were all part of the establishment. And as long as the establishment is doing something and they're in unison, they don't care. I completely with you, and I completely understand.
Yeah, and the oh my goodness,
The ACLU.
The ACLU, Will actually did a report last week on when Obama was president. The ACLU actually went after Obama for not giving illegals due process. So there has been this, and I find it funny that right now they're having this argument. And where's Obama? Where's Clinton? Who both were accused of not giving due process? They're nowhere to be found. Right? They're not sticking up for Trump, but they're not saying, oh, you should give him due process, because they know that they're guilty of the very same thing. There's an argument, and I think this needs to be cleared up. I don't know about you, Dan, but I think we need a law on the books that says if you are an illegal here, the due process under constitutional does not extend to them. I think we need that, because when the people that wrote the Constitution, they didn't foresee an influx of illegals like we have today.
Right, but what I don't understand, okay, from articles that I've been reading and all that Clinton signed it into law that illegals don't get due process.
I haven't actually seen that. And you're the first one that I've heard this from. And if that is the case, because I'm not saying that you're wrong by any means. I like the idea. And if that's the case, then President Trump's team should bring it up. I would imagine that Steve Miller would have brought it up by now. Saying this would happen with Clinton, with Obama, when they were in office about due process. I would imagine that he would have brought it up by now. But if maybe he's not aware of it, I don't know. But if it is the case, then it's going to shut down the Democrats real quick.
Now, I actually did a quick just GBT, right, chat GBT search and about Bill Clinton, and it says that President Clinton did not sign a law that stripped due process rights from undocumented immigrants. However, he did sign major immigration legislation in 1996 that limited due process protections in certain situations. So I think the certain situations is probably kind of like what Trump is trying to do now, kind of like the Aliens Act. I'd have to read into it more, but that's what ChatGPT says. So.
Okay, well, you gave me a better answer than what I've been finding. So, no, I'm just curious on that, because, I'm seeing, I'm getting sick of all this stuff about immigration.
Yeah. Same here. I'm getting sick of it.
The person gets busted, and then they're crying, well, I didn't get to go to court yet. Blah blah blah.
The thing is about all that is that they didn't come into the country with a legal process, but now all of a sudden, them along with Democrats are saying that they need to be removed out of the country with legal process. we're in a different time. We're in a different age. When you bring in a 20 million plus people, and they did it on purpose, and all of these Democrats were for that lawlessness, they're complicit with the criminal activity that took place. They're complicit with it. So
I agree. I agree.
So I think really they should be held responsible for all of the people, the loss of life, the sex trafficking, the children missing. They should be held responsible for it. And soon, if that ever came up saying, you know what, we're going to hold you responsible for this because you allowed it to happen, and now you're even advocating for it. We're going to hold you responsible. That means you get to go to jail. I bet you they'll straighten up quick. If especially if it's a bill in the past, they'll straighten up quick. They won't do it any longer. So, well, hey, Dan, thank you so much for the call.
Okay. Hey, thank you for letting me ask my question.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you. It's a great question.
You know, hey, at least I'm getting a little bit more clarification than what I'm finding online.
Yeah.
You know,
we have to do the research. I've done that too, and I've seen his information, and I'm like, oh, because I really like it, then I end up sharing it, and then come to find out it's not completely there. So, you know, I've done it too. We have to be careful what we share.
Well, that's why I'm, you know, asking a question, you know, hey, I don't understand this. You know, if you or one of your other listeners can help me understand it better.
Yep. You know what, Dan, I say this, we're all learning together. We're all learning together. And you know what? I want that to be the case. Maybe Congress, if the Republicans in the House and the Senate get off their backside, maybe they can pass a bill to say, you know what? They don't get due process.
That's exactly what I'm saying. We need legislation to stop this nonsense and to clarify it once and for all.
Yep. 100%. 100%. Well, hey, Dan. It. Yep. Well, hey, thanks so much for the call. Have a wonderful weekend.
Have a great one, and we'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Okay, so I do have another one I want to share with you from Jake the Snake. And this is Jake the Snake. This is the one he's talking about Joe Biden, right? Shannon? Because Joe Biden went on with the Witches of the View. Is that correct? Is this the one? I think this is the one he's talking about it. Joe Biden went on there. No,
this is the one where they're showing the history
that's right.
Of Joe Biden and how they've protected him.
And how also, Jake the Snake was protecting him.
Yeah.
President Biden called into one of his favorite TV shows, Morning Joe on MSNBC, and he railed against what he called the elites.
I'm getting so frustrated by the elites. Now, I'm not talking about you guys, but about the elites in the party.
He said, I'm not talking about you guys, because everyone that he's probably talking to here are part of the elites, the oligarchs. And that's who he's talking to.
They know so much more.
President Biden seems to be trying to frame what's going on right now as the average voters who want him versus the elites of the Democratic Party, donors and lawmakers and opinion makers, many of whom have serious concerns about Biden's ability to be the candidate and have called for him to step down after that debate performance that let's call baffling. In reality, 72% of voters say that they believe President Biden is too old. That's according to CNN's most recent polling. Voters have been saying this for quite a long time. The reality is that the Democratic elites are mostly late to acknowledge these age and ability issues.
Really? Did you hear it? The Democrat elites, probably the same people Joe Biden was talking to. The Democrat elites.
Compared to the rest of the public. The elites have been forced to reckon with it after the debate just 11 days ago.
Look at my career. I've not had many of those nights. It was a terrible night, and I really regret it happened. But the fact of the matter is, how can you assure you're going to be on faith that can intervene on your way to go to, work tomorrow? Age wasn't, the idea I'm too old.
The fact of the matter is, how can you assure you're going to be out on your way to go, work tomorrow? Age wasn't, the idea that I'm too old. Keep in mind, that soundbite is supposed to be reassuring to those Democratic supporters who have gone wobbly. Many Democratic officials with whom I've spoken are worried that President Biden and his family and his inner circle appear to be in complete denial, not just about whatever might be wrong with him, but the state of his candidacy right now.
Did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
He doesn't think he did. After facing increasing pressure to demonstrate in public an ability to take questions and respond cogently for a lengthy period of time live about what he wants to do with the United States, his message, his plans, his policies, the president and his team have not held a press conference to demonstrate just that. He continues to do what he has done sparingly in the past, a short tape sit down with an anchor, in this case, George Stephanopoulos of ABC News. But before the president did that, he called into a couple of black radio stations where he said, among other things, this.
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman to serve with a black president.
Really? Who was who was the black woman he's referring to? Can y'all tell me in the chat? Who's the black woman is he referring to? I'm just asking the question here.
I'm proud of the first black woman in the Supreme Court. There's just so much that we can do because together there's nothing. Look, this is the United States of America.
He's proud to be the first black woman? Not coherent.
Jake the Snake, what a hypocrite. Oh my goodness. Why? You know what? See, I think the only reason, it's not even I think, the only reason, I know why. The only reason why they're turning on Joe Biden like this now is because President Trump is in the White House. If they would have gotten what they wanted and had the wicked witch in the White House, this wouldn't even be a conversation with them. Jake the Snake wouldn't even be talking about Joe Biden right now. He wouldn't have nothing to say about him. This is the only reason why they're saying something. Because the Democrat Party is crumbling. There's a civil war going on inside of the Democrat Party. They don't know what a woman is. They don't know which way up and down is. They don't know what reality is. They're targeting women with using men going in the locker room. They're losing their minds. And a whole bunch of people in the country not riding with them any longer because of the nonsense that they're pushing. And now he's trying to act like he's on top of his game. Really?
And even then, we later found out from the radio host that the Biden campaign had given her a list of questions to ask President Biden. That is a huge no-no in journalism, and the host was fired for it. But it remains quite telling that in the Biden campaign's efforts to show that the president has not missed a step, his campaign felt the need to feed questions to the hosts for a call-in radio interview. And the president still, even then, failed to deliver in many of his answers. Now, many elected Democrats are expressing concern about this answer, too, although it was quite coherent. George Stephanopoulos asking him how he would feel if he ultimately loses to Donald Trump, which polls have suggested he will.
You remember this? And he actually did lose. He lost. They all lost. There was no primary to replace Joe Biden. They just automatically put Camela Harris there. And they're not even blaming Camela Harris. You notice that? They're not even blaming Camela Harris. Camela Harris, again, we said something's not right with her either. I'm not diagnosing her, but something's not right. I mean, when the word salad just keeps coming, and then the salad just flying all over the place. Ask her a question about the economy. She said, well, I grew up as a kid and we had paper plates. But how are you going to fix the economy? Well, when I was a kid, we had paper plates. I'm like, dude, something is not right. And you know what? It's not even just Joe Biden. It's not even just Camela Harris. It's something with the Democrat Party. Something's not right with these people. Look at her with children. Something is not right with these people. And I truly believe what we're seeing is an expression of this demonic spirit that has infested the Democrat Party. That's what we're seeing. We're 100% seeing it. Shannon, you want to talk about the coffee really quick?
Sure, yeah, I can talk about the coffee. Let
Yes.
me put it up here for you guys real quick.
Let's talk about this coffee. It's pretty awesome. 17 75coffee.com.
Yeah, put it up here on the screen for everybody so they can see this. Yep, it says still haven't tried 1775 coffee. Now is your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped, only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits harder than CNN fact check, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality Mushroom Coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin free, and mold free, which is so important. Plus, you're also getting this. Listen to this. You're getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. You're getting a frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's political opinions. So funny. And a black 1775 tumbler that says, I don't take life advice or caffeine from a woke sea witch. Wow.
Wow.
So
Nice.
$170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for only $99. Wow, that is pretty awesome. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 plow up Rumble, wondering if it blow up Rumble, I'm sorry, wondering if it's actually worth it. Well, spoiler alert, it is. We want you guys to go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. That's right, the bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something. Just not like Rumble does.
Yeah.
Start your day with coffee that actually backs what you believe. That's right. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio.
Awesome. Go check it out. 1775.com/studio. Hey, let me say thank you to Filter Dog for the gold pills on pill.net. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. I greatly appreciate you. Thank you so much for those gold pills. Let me see. I think it was just Filter Dog. Yep. Yep. Filter Dog and Dono. Thank you so much for the gold pills on pill.net. And Johnny and Easy Sense and Brave Piano. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you. And DB Productions. Thank you so much for those gold pills on pilled.net. On pilled.net. And on YouTube, Buzzy 181. Buzzy 181 has been on my YouTube channel ever since I believe I created it, or shortly thereafter. And I want to say thank you, Buzzy, for the super chat on YouTube. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Hey, y'all on Rumble, y'all can bless me if you want to. It's only if you want to. Okay. Now, of course, we got to go to Scott Jennings. Scott Jennings, because they're all talking about Joe Biden and his cognitive abilities. And of course, they're going to have the conversation on the panel here with Abby. And of course, none of them want to hear Scott Jennings' points about any of this because they know Scott Jennings is telling the truth. And these radical Democrats, they cannot stand the truth.
Watching him on The View today and watching some of the interviews he did over.
Thank you for your viewership.
Yeah, I saw it. It's rare for me, but I did watch it.
You like Anna, that's what it is.
I will just say, watching him over the last few days reminded me that a whole bunch of people were telling us with a straight face that this man was capable of serving another 4 years as president. And that these appearances, coupled with what I understand is going to be the equivalent of a nuclear bomb dropped on the Democratic Party when Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's book come out next week.
Right there. Right there. See, I think we can remove the question mark. Did Jake the Snake turn on Biden? But they're turning on themselves. They're eating themselves. And you know who else that they're attacking? Talking about the radical left? They're attacking Fetterman. John Fetterman, of all people. John Fetterman.
I don't know that the Democrats have fully internalized what's about to happen to them between what he looks like today and what they're about to report.
I am not sure that Joe Biden fully realizes even his own deficits in this moment, Anna. I think seriously, he seems to not, he was asked about it directly, and he doesn't seem to get it at all, which is part of the problem.
Well, look, Abby, I don't know many elected officials in any party who willingly walk away from their elected office, right? I think it's hard for everybody. Look, I think this was very hard for Joe Biden. I think he took responsibility for that. He did not say what you just said, Scott, that he said. You just said that he told. You said that he told Kamala Harris that she could not have any distance from him.
It's been reported. He told.
It doesn't
her
matter what he
blank,
was.
He told her point blank, no daylight, kid. No daylight.
Because
I remember. You remember that? Joe Biden said, "No daylight, kid." You remember that? And that probably. How do you think Camela Harris responded to that being called "kid" by Joe Biden? I mean, how do you think? Right? What do you think?
reporting can never be wrong.
Are you attacking the journalism around it?
You think reporting can never be wrong?
If you want to be
come on here and you attack reporting every night.
I do not.
We actually asked him the question
There's critical
directly.
reporting about this guy, and he told her point
well,
blank,
we asked
no
him,
daylight.
We asked him directly today.
Right.
Did you tell her that?
You think he's ever told a lie?
I don't think he tells many lies.
Cognitive decline, I can tell you that much.
I don't think he tells many lies. I don't think he's done a
Come on.
Wait. No, you know why you don't get to laugh like that? Because you support a guy who lies every freaking day and lies continuously. You support a guy who cannot acknowledge that he lost the 2020 election and that lies about it.
Yeah.
I have no idea what Jake did.
Thank you.
Have you read it? Have you read it?
Guys, we gotta go. Thank you very much. Okay. We'll be right back.
Oh my goodness. Look, you know what? I think that's the only reason why anyone watch CNN is because of Scott Jennings. And of course, she's saying that Trump lies, but Joe Biden, he doesn't lie. Oh, no. Joe doesn't lie. Joe never lies. Joe's like, he doesn't have a bone in his body that, nothing about him that lies. He completely lies. Joe Biden lies all the time. I mean, he's been caught in lie after lie after lie, but the Democrats, they ignore Joe Biden when he lies, just like they ignored something was wrong with Joe Biden all of this time. And now that it's all coming to the surface, about Joe Biden's lying, they want to ignore it. They want to act like it's never even happened, like it's not a real thing, didn't happen, don't pay attention to it, it's not real, when it did happen. John, thank you so much for the super chat. I think Elon should give you a Tesla car. Oh my, you know what? I'm with you. Make it the truck though. Make it the truck because see, I like the truck.
Will does
My
love
producer
the truck.
doesn't like the truck, so she won't be trying to drive that one. So I'm with you, John. I'm with you. Thank
Maybe
you
you
so
can
much
make that happen, John. I don't know.
Thank you so much for the super chat.
And actually, Tesla's just right down the freeway from us.
It really is. They have a
The super.
major manufacturer. It's like the manufacturer for the Teslas is a mile long.
Yep, it's a mile long.
It's a solid mile
crazy.
long. The building, and then they've even added onto it. But the building itself is a mile long and is maybe 20 minutes from here down the freeway. But it's huge. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Thank you so much. We're gonna make it the Tesla truck, and we're really talking. Okay. Now, I want to move on a little bit here because we could talk about Joe Biden's cognitive abilities and how he went on the Witches of the View. But here's another big story, a huge story. Actually, I think this story is maybe slightly bigger. What do you think? Y'all let me know in the chat. Leticia James in the hot seat, and she's trying to act like she didn't do anything wrong. And she's one of the biggest hypocrites ever. Remember, this is the same one that went after President Trump because she said that President Trump lied about the value of his Mar-a-Lago home when he was trying to get a loan. Yeah. And then when he went and got the loan, the banks, they were happy to give President Trump the loan. And then after President Trump paid the loan back, the banks that she said were complaining about President Trump said that, no, we're not complaining about President Trump. In fact, we want President Trump to take more loans out with us because not only did President Trump pay back the loan, but he paid the loan back in interest. So he was a good client. and we want him back. But
Yeah.
Leticia James didn't like to hear that.
Yeah, and well, now they've actually opened up a criminal probe into this. So that means that they've had enough meaningful evidence
Yes.
to say, let's do a bigger probe into this.
Yeah. And so Leticia James, I guess, I'm not sure what this was, like a town hall or some sort, or there was like something in New York having a thing. And the people in New York, they got to be disgusted with this woman. They really do. I mean, you got to be disgusted with her. I'm disgusted with her. But someone at this, whatever this was, town hall, what have you.
It was some panel. She was on
it's
some
like,
panel.
Yeah, some kind of panel or something going on here. Well, they had an open mic, and one of their constituents, I'm assuming a constituent, because he had that New York accent, got on the microphone and basically let her have it. And he wasn't being mean or anything, but he was letting her have it. And she was not happy. And of course, she's going to say there's nothing there. Watch.
Yes, my question is for Tush James. Will you apologize to President Trump for wasting millions of dollars and the state of New York for a witch trial? And how does it feel to know that you will be in prison for mortgage fraud?
Nice.
Thank you for coming.
Now listen to her. Listen.
We want to thank him for coming. We respect all opinions.
No, you don't.
Everybody knows those allegations are baseless. They're discredited. And so we want to thank him.
Really?
Our next speaker.
Can you imagine how she was feeling when that came up? Are you going to apologize to President Trump? She should apologize to everyone in New York, too.
What's been discredited?
Nothing
other than her saying I'm not guilty, but nobody's discredited her story at all other than her saying it's not true.
Nothing's been discredited.
No.
Nothing.
But that's what these people do. Her lies. This is what the Democrat Party does. They lie so easily.
Yeah. Yeah. They lie. And the thing is, she put the lie out there like that. And what's going to end up happening is that these radical Democrats, they're going to come out and automatically say it's been discredited. It's been discredited. It's been discredited. And one report, I think it's in this next one here, where they were actually having a conversation about this on Fox Business, where it came up that Leticia James is saying that it's not her fault that the banks gave her the loan. It is the fault of the bank. Like the bank should have made sure everything was in order before they did the loan, before she did the mortgage loan with them. The bank should have done that. Does she not think that the bank did not do that with President Trump? And in actuality, the banks did do that with President Trump. They did do that. I don't care. If I own property and I go to the bank and ask for a loan for $50 million, because I believe that my property is worth $80 million, the bank, regardless of who you are, they will go out and they will do their own assessment. And they came back and they saw what President Trump was saying it's worth, and they apparently agreed with President Trump. There was no crime there. But she lied, and because they control the law system in corrupt Nazi York, that they were able to do this. Now listen to some of this, because Leticia James, she's in the hot seat for real. And you know what? She should go to prison for it. Really she should. And the reason why I say that, because when you have people accusing someone of something else and you're trying to put them in prison and there's nothing there, and then you were doing the exact same thing that you were trying to put someone in prison for, you need to go.
Expertise. In your assessment, how serious are these charges against Leticia James?
Well, these all have to be combed out. The James defense team is saying that there were contradictions that were corrected, that, for example, that home was the primary residence of the other signatory. But there are contradictions here. It's an ironic defense because they're saying, look, if the bank simply looked into this on their own, they could see, that these were more units than just 4, that this was not the primary residence of James. That's a type of understanding and leeway that she refused to allow to Donald Trump. She insisted that everything that was signed in her name, and it was signed in his name, I should say, really are bound legally to him. And so they said you have an obligation to make sure everything filed was absolutely accurate. So the karma is crushing here. But the greatest irony, of course, is to hear her counsel and her spokesperson say, this is just wrong because Trump campaigned on moving against his enemies. For those of us who have covered this litigation for years, having those words come out of the mouths of James' staff really is breathtaking. She campaigned on a promise to bag Donald Trump on something. She didn't even bother to name what it was. She literally campaigned on the promise that she would nail him on anything, and then she filled in the violation later.
Yep. She sure did. She ran on that. We're going to get him. We're going to get him. I'm going to prosecute him. There was video after video of her going to these campaign rallies for her to be the DA, saying, we're going to get him. It's like that was her own sole purpose in that position. She abused that position. And then, is she there because of George Soros? Who paid for her campaign? Is she a George Soros DA? I think that she is. And if that's the case, when she goes down, but apparently George Soros is untouchable. I'm not sure why. Pam Bondi. I'm a little confused. Maybe something needs to happen with that. But anyways, nonetheless, she's a total hypocrite. What she was blaming President Trump for doing, she was actually doing herself. She was actually doing it herself, just like these Democrats, just like a good Democrat. I've constantly made this analogy. The Democrats will point the finger and say, oh, they point the finger at President Trump. Look what President Trump is doing. Look what President Trump is doing. And the only reason why people believe it, because the Democrats are pointing at President Trump, is because they see the Democrats doing it over here. So they know it's actually happening. So they point the finger this way. See it happening, but point everyone direction over here and say it's happening over here. That's exactly what's happening. Let me ask y'all a question before we run out of time. Who are the violent ones in this country? Are the violent ones MAGA Republicans, conservatives, Christians? Who the violent ones? Or is it the ones that are going around keying up Teslas, burning Teslas? What about the ones that were against black people voting? Who are they? What about going around and setting explosives off in various buildings? Who did that? Who was doing that? What about the ones that were going around the country during the summer of love and destroying vehicles, attacking people, locking people inside of buildings with a chain and then setting the building on fire? Who did all of that? Who's going around right now and attacking police officers when they're just sitting in their vehicle? Who's doing that? Who's taking the life of the most innocent of us all in the womb? Who's doing that? Who's causing most of the violence that we see when someone disagrees with you? Who's doing that? This is not a trick question. It's really not. But I'm looking in the comments. If anybody, can you please let me know in the comments, who are the violent ones in this country? Is it the extreme MAGA Republicans? Is it the conservatives? Is it the Christians? Who is it? Or is it those on the left, the radical liberals? Who is it? Now, I just listed off a whole bunch of things that all the left, they are for. Those radical liberals, if they find out where your place of employment is and they find out that you're a Trump supporter, you love America, you fly the American flag on your home, they will try to get you fired at your job because they don't like the way you think. So I ask again, who are the violent ones. And the reason why I bring that up is because of Jasmine Crackpot. Jasmine Crackpot have the nerve, the audacity to try to suggest that those of us that are on the right, that believe in God, we're the violent ones according to her. And let me remind everybody, the party that she is a part of, the Demon Crack KKK party, is the same party that created the KKK. It's the same party. This never changed. I've never seen anything where these KKK members come out and say that they're switching parties. I've never seen it. And there's been no over a period of time where they decided to change. No, that's never happened. It's never happened.
They try to act like, oh, political violence, it's the Democrats and it's the liberals. And it's like, actually, I mean, I'm not going to say that like a left-leaning person cannot be violent, because that would be like crazy to say that somebody can't be. But baby, y'all got the white supremacists galore, okay? Like all of them. You got the Proud Boys, you got the neo-Nazis, you have people.
Really? I mean, have she ever looked at the people inside of the Proud Boys? There's less white people in the Proud Boys than anything else. So what is she referring to? She's an idiot.
That literally should be classified as domestic terrorists, because a lot of times that is what they are doing. They are engaging in domestic terrorism.
Oh, but BLM attacking police officers, that's not terrorism. Trans-Tifa attacking people, police officers, for not thinking the way they think, that's not terrorism. The BLM, the organization of BLM and Trans-Tifa members, they should be designated as terrorists. Why? Because they go around and they terrorize people. MAGA Republicans, conservatives are not terrorizing anybody. They want to be left alone. They want to be able to go to work, take care of the family, and go on vacation, go to the movies, go out to dinner, be left alone, go golfing, go fishing. MAGA Republicans just want to live their life peacefully. The radical left, they have a different agenda. And she's just on here lying, and no one's calling her out for it on here.
And guess what? They all align with your side. Yeah. Including the KKK. So like, I mean, this is who aligns with that. So like inherently in like who you are, y'all are violent. Like right. Y'all, and most of your violence has to do with people that's got a little bit of melanin. But nevertheless, like y'all are a violent group of people. Like you attract.
You hear that? You hear that right there? You know what she's talking about right there? We're referring to. Do you know? She's talking about white people. She's talking about white people.
Violent actors, and like, I'm sorry, I know they tried to make Black Lives Matter out to be the most violent. What about Black Lives Matter? No. So that's the thing. Like,
really? You mean Black Lives Matter is not violent? Really? I remember the first time there was an event that I can recall. You can get her off the screen. The first time I recall BLM have an event, it was Dallas, Texas, and Obama was in office. And what ended up happening, and they'll deny it all day long. It was a black guy on top of a roof, and he was shooting at police officers at a BLM event. Shooting at police officers. Y'all remember that? I recall that. Because afterwards, they were asking Obama if he would light up the White House in the color of blue for the police officers. And Obama refused to do it. Because Obama wanted that hatred for police officers to happen in this country. And I don't know to this day why police officers still think that Obama, there are some police officers right now today think that Obama was a good president. They're still saying it. I've actually had conversation with some of them, and they're completely oblivious to what was going on. Hey, let me tell you about Rumble Premium. You want to talk about Rumble Premium real quick, Shannon? We're going to talk about Rumble Premium. If you're not on Rumble Premium right now, everyone need to go check it out. Rumble Premium, there's a lot of benefits of getting on the Rumble Premium. Correct, Shannon?
When Rumble first started in 2013, they built a platform for small creator. They didn't censor or have biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions on COVID, but they did. Facebook admitted they fell to pressure from the Biden and Harris administration. Rumble did not. They held the line. They are attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you. They are attacked in corporate media. They are attacked in governments like France. They are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers. They don't get much of it. Watching our show, Will Johnson here on Rumble, and other platforms is the most they can ask for from you. But if you really believe in this fight, and if you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble's offering $10 off when you use promo code STUDIO. When you purchase an annual subscription, go to rumble.com/premium and use promo code STUDIO. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, we are we are just happy that you watch us on Rumble.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, and let me remind everyone, if you would go to my website, uniteamericafirst.com, sign up for the free newsletter if you haven't done it already. And actually, you know what, Shannon? I met a young man going to the gym out on the floor, and he said he's seen my videos and stuff, and he said he signed up for the newsletter. And he was asking me, I signed up for the newsletter, but I haven't gotten any emails from you yet. And I explained to him, I said, you know what? I don't ever spam people, because how many of you receive emails from certain organizations, certain news groups, where they send you emails every single day or sometimes 2 and 3 times a day? Are you like that, Shannon? Do you receive like emails? And then at some point, because you can't keep up with it, all of you have lives. So I only send out the email when there's something that's kind of like pressing, or I really want you to look at it.
Yeah.
So I don't bombard you with emails. I don't share your emails. None of that. I'm telling you right now, please go to my website, uniteamericafirst.com, sign up for the free newsletter. And at the same time, while you're on my website, if you like the work that I'm doing and you want to help me to continue, I need your help. I need your support. Go to uniteamericafirst.com/donate. And right there at the top, you can see the different options you can support me. We got the silver, gold, platinum, and diamond. Whichever one God puts on your heart, by all means, become a monthly supporter for me. I would greatly appreciate it. Or some people just want to do one time. Some people just want to do one time, which I completely get it. And that's the reason why I have it there. There's the different options for you. Or you can physically send me a letter. And for everyone that has sent me a physical letter in the mail to my address, even when I started in California, I've kept every single one, the envelope and the letter. Of course, when people send me blessings, they send checks sometimes, but most of the time they send a check. I can't keep those, but I do keep the letter and I do keep the envelope that you send them to me. I'm going to have them in Will Johnson's library, non-presidential library. Mine will be up before Obama's. And it won't even take $1 billion to create mine. All right, everybody. With that said, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a blessed weekend. Stay safe out there, and we will see you on Monday. Take care.